Good morning, everyone. Today is Chai Adar, and we're going to dedicate today's learning to Abby Landau Stein, or Abby Stein Landau. How do you say it, Steve? Abby's father, David Ben Alexander, his neshama Shev and Aliyah, and today's the yahrzeit. And it's very interesting because we start with the words V'hine inyan hashras hashchina, the resting of the Shechina. So when we say a person should, rest in peace, the neshama and the Shechina is really very interconnected, as the soul is a part of Hashem. Okay, in today's lesson, what constitutes a manifestation of divine presence? We're talking about the Shechina resting on our head, our body being the wick, the fuel being the good deeds. But what does that mean practically, that the Shechina is resting on us? What is this, the revelation of Hashem's oneness? Ironically, a yearning for Hashem, which can be one's own spiritual agenda, may interfere with performance of mitzvahs. While seemingly less lofty, it may facilitate the flow of the Shechina. What does that mean? Let's unpack that. The resting of the Shechina meaning when we single out a specific object from a world filled with the Shechina, by saying that the divine presence rests upon a specific object, because the Shechina is everywhere, which means Hashem is everywhere. So how do we say the Shechina is resting on Larry's head right now? Well, isn't it everywhere? Like, how is it just here? What it means to say is that right now it's more intensely resting because you did a special mitzvah. You put on tefillin, you came to minyan, you're davening, you gave tzedakah, right? Plus, you're a great guy. Good. You're welcome. What does it mean? It's a particular revelation of Hashem, of that internal light on a particular object. I'm not saying you're an object, but the tefillin is holy and special, the Torah is holy and special, right? So we say the Shechina is resting on something, it means that it's resting on something in particular. This means to say that this object is comprised within Hashem's light and is nullified out of existence towards Hashem, meaning it has no separate identity. Everything else seemingly has its own separate identity. You're you, I'm me, he's him. The table's the table, right? Only when God rests on something and it's completely nullified to Hashem, it's batal to Hashem, that's when Hashem can reveal himself in it or in them. Anything that's not completely given over and nullified out of existence to Hashem cannot allow Hashem's light to rest and reveal itself within it. And that's why the neshama we're talking about, that it goes up to Gan Eden, it's no longer attached to a physical body. It has no will of its own. It's completely batal to Hashem, and the neshama is now shining with Hashem, with the godly light. Ba'af tzadik gomer. Even a perfect tzaddik who cleaves to Hashem with love on a high level, even such a tzaddik obviously cannot grasp Hashem, because no human thought could grasp Hashem. And however lofty and holy and special a tzaddik is, he's still a human being, right? For the real implication, the true implication of Hashem Elikim Emes, that God is the true God, is his unity and oneness. Nothing exists outside of Hashem. Only Hashem exists. That's what it means. Ein oid mavade. There's nothing but Hashem. As explained in chapter 20, the statement that God is one means that not only is he the only God, but also that he is the only true existence. He is the only thing that exists in the world. Nothing else does. Do you exist? Well, no, not based on this. Only Hashem exists. But it's true. The way we feel is the way Hashem wants us to feel, as if we're a separate existence, so that we could have free choice. I'm just filling in the blanks a little, but otherwise, what are we looking at? Okay. A person who has a love for Hashem, what's he loving? He is loving. So there's him involved. Suddenly he's separate from Hashem. So even we're talking about the tzaddik, so even the tzaddik who loves Hashem so much, but nevertheless there's still the fact that he can't grasp Hashem. The Ein Oir Hashem Shoyra Miskalaboy, even the tzaddik cannot grasp Hashem and thereby becoming one with him through the faculties of his own soul. And therefore Hashem's light does not abide or manifest itself in him except through a tzaddik. Could be the holiest person in the world, but unless he puts on tefillin, unless he does an action-based mitzvah, the Shekhinah is not going to rest on it. And what is a mitzvah? It's the actual will and wisdom of Hashem without any concealment of his countenance at all. Since the inner aspect of the divine will stands revealed only in mitzvahs and particular action mitzvahs, it's only by means of the mitzvah that the light of the Shekhinah rests upon man and not through spiritual devotion alone. You can close your eyes and meditate from today to tomorrow. It's a wonderful thing to do, and we should do that at times. But we need to do the action-based mitzvah. There's no such thing as, I'm a Jew in my heart, that's it. You got to do. La soisoi. Remember the pasuk that we start off the whole Tanya. This thing is very near to you. In your mouth, in your heart. La soisoi. You got to do it. You can't just have it in your heart and in your mouth. La soisoi is very, very important. Now there's a little footnote here concerning his aforementioned statement that the Ein Sof light, the light, eternal light of Hashem, reveals itself only within that which is totally nullified before Hashem. The Alter Rebbe mentions in Hagah that this Asher Shamati Mimoidi Alav Hashalom Perush. He says, what I heard from my teacher, the Maggid of message, Perush, Betam Alama Shekosav Eitz Chaim, Shoyrin Sof Baruch Hu Einoi Misyachad Afila Ba'ilama Atzilus Ela Al Yidei Slavshusay Tchila B'Sviras Chochma. That he says from my teacher, the Maggid of Mezrich, Olav Shalom, on the meaning of and the reason behind the statement of the Eitz Chaim and that the Ein Sof, the eternal light, does not unite itself even in the world with the world of Atzilus, except by first betzing itself in the attribute of Chachma. Atzilus is right next to Hashem. Even in that world, Hashem does not completely reveal himself, except through Chachma, through wisdom. And that's why when you do a mitzvah, you're connecting to the will and wisdom of Hashem. The Maggid explains, A, the meaning of the Ein Sof vested itself in Chachma, and B, provided the reason that it does not unite with Atzilus except by way of Chachma. V'hainu, shum she'ein Sof baruch hu echad ha'emes, shehu levadei hu ve'ein zu la'asei, v'zu hi madregas ha'chachma b'chulu. This is because the eternal light, the true oneness, which means that Hashem exists alone and there's nothing besides Hashem. And this, in fact, is the level of Chachma. So the attribute of Chachma represents the perception of godliness as the sole existing being. And this is the meaning of the Ein Sof's clothing itself in the attribute of Chachma. How could it, something that's eternal Hashem, everlasting, open light, how could it be the revelation? How could it be clothed in anything? So what's it clothed in? Hashem's own Chachma. And it even says in quotation, it can't be clothed because it means it's eternal. It goes forever. It's the only existence. How could it be clothed in anything? The revelation of the Ein Sof as one alone and nothing besides him. And for this reason, the Ein Sof does not unite with any other worlds or levels except by way of Chachma, wisdom. As stated above, Hashem abides and may be united with only where there is no sense of self or separation from him. That's why in order to really connect to Hashem, even in this world, we have to be completely humble. We have to rid ourselves of any vestige of evil. Because if there's ego, there's no room for Hashem. But when there's humility, there's room for Hashem. It's only being nullified to Hashem. So when there's no sense of self or separation from Hashem, but I want you. I want your Gan Eden. I don't want ice cream. What do you want, Laf? Candy. No, you're supposed to say only Hashem. We only want Hashem, right? I don't want any extra stuff. Only Hashem. Only in that which pervades the spirit of He alone and nothing besides Him. And this spirit constitutes the attribute of Chachma as stated. I know this is a difficult little shtickle. That's why it's probably in the notes. And obviously it's deep because it's something that the Alter Rebbe heard from his teacher, the Maggid. And he's kind enough to share with us, even though we probably don't understand fully what it means. Anyway, the takeaway for today is being humble is the method of drawing Hashem into your life. If you want to have that Shekhinah, that lights on your head, obviously it's not in a physical sense, because your head would get really hot and all that all the leftover hairs that you still have would burn up. But what we have to do is, in order to bring the spiritual light of Hashem into our lives, we have to practice humility, not just a little bit, but fully. And we have to do action-based mitzvahs, and that will be the flame. That will be the fuel for the fire. And our body is the wick holding down that flame. Everyone have a wonderful day. And as a reminder, if anyone's coming to Minyan, 8:15 at Oratory tomorrow, followed by the Seftel Bris, Mazel Tov, and all good news.
And on Thursday,
Thursday we're